First contact gone wrong. The stellar cartography room aboard the Meridian Empire's flagship, Eternal Dawn, buzzed with anticipation. Grand Admiral Kestra Vernax, her iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to midnight blue, studied the holographic projection of a seemingly unremarkable solar system. Her six-fingered hand traced the orbit of the third planet from its yellow star. Such a primitive world, she mused, her vertical pupils dilating as she focused on the blue-green sphere. Their communications still rely on electromagnetic waves. Their vessels barely reach their own moon. She turned to face the assembled War Council, her ceremonial armor catching the light from the holographic display. And yet they've managed to detect our scout ships every single time. The council chamber, carved from living crystal that pulsed with bioluminescent light, held the Empire's finest military minds. Each of them had conquered dozens of worlds, brought entire civilizations to heel under the banner of the Meridian Empire. But Earth was different. The humans have rejected our standard first contact protocols 3 times now. Strategic Commander Lysander reported, his cybernetic eye whirring as it processed data streams. They detect our cloaked observers, jam our quantum communications, and somehow manage to redirect our probes away from their military installations. It's unprecedented for a pre-FTL civilization. Kestra's scales rippled with amusement. Then perhaps it's time we stop treating them like primitives. Prepare the first strike fleet. 100,000 warriors, our finest ships, our best weapons. We'll show these humans the true might of the Meridian Empire. In the shadows of the council chamber, ancient observer Tix Era remained silent. The eldest of their species had watched civilizations rise and fall across 50,000 years. Something about Earth made their ancestral memories stir with unease. 3 days later, the invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. A vast armada of crystalline ships, each one a masterpiece of organic technology, merged with quantum engineering. They moved like a school of predatory fish, their formation perfect, their intent clear. The humans' primitive detection systems would spot them soon. Kestra waited for the panic, for the chaos that always preceded their conquests. Instead, there was silence. Grand Admiral, her sensor officer called out, confusion evident in their voice. We're detecting no changes in Earth's communication patterns. Their satellites maintain normal operation. Their military vessels haven't changed course. Kestra's scales darkened. Impossible. They should be scrambling their defenses by now. She straightened in her command chair. Launch the first wave. Let's see how they handle real ships instead of scouts. 20,000 ships surged forward, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. They passed Mars, their sensors probing ahead for any sign of resistance. Still nothing. Then, at precisely 0.3 astronomical units from Earth, something changed. The first wave of ships flickered. Like a mirage in desert heat, their forms seemed to waver, become transparent, and then contact lost with first wave. The communications officer reported, their scales pale with fear. No debris, no energy signatures, no distress signals. They're just gone. Kestra's tail lashed in agitation. Launch the second wave. Full combat spread. I want everything we have pointed at that planet. 40,000 more ships moved forward. This time, Kestra watched directly through the quantum-linked visual feeds. She saw the moment it happened. A subtle distortion in space, like reality itself was being gently folded. Her mighty warships simply ceased to exist. Final wave, hold position. She barked, but it was too late. The remaining 40,000 ships of her fleet were already committed to their attack vector. She watched in horror as they too vanished, swallowed by whatever impossible technology the humans possessed. In the ensuing silence, as Kestra stared at the peaceful blue world that had just effortlessly neutralized the greatest invasion fleet in Meridian history, ancient observer Tix Era finally spoke. "Did you ever wonder?" the elder said softly. Why we found so few signs of advanced civilizations when we first reached the stars. Why the galaxy seems so empty of technological societies. Tixera's scales shifted to the deep green of ancient knowledge. Perhaps we were not the first to underestimate the humans. Perhaps we were simply the first to survive the attempt. Kestra's reply was cut short by an incoming transmission. On her command screen appeared a human face, a female with dark skin and silver-streaked hair, wearing what looked like simple civilian clothing. "This is Dr. Elena Santos of the Earth Defense Initiative," the human said calmly, speaking perfect Meridian standard. "Your fleet has been safely contained. No one has been harmed. We would be happy to return your ships and personnel once we've established diplomatic relations and assured ourselves of your peaceful intentions." The Grand Admiral of the mighty Meridian Empire, conqueror of 1,000 worlds, found herself speechless for the first time in her long life. The human continued, a small smile playing at her lips. "We've prepared a comprehensive first contact package, including cultural exchange proposals and trade agreements. We've also taken the liberty of upgrading your ship's entertainment systems during their containment. Your crews are currently enjoying what we call movie night. I believe they're watching something called Independence Day. We thought they might appreciate the irony." And that was how humanity announced its presence to the galaxy, not with violence or conquest, but with an impossible defense, a diplomatic proposal, and a sense of humor that would become legendary across the stars. The Silent Defense, 5 kilometers beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Dr. Elena Santos stood before a wall of quantum displays. Each screen showed a different section of what her team called the library, a vast complex of interdimensional spaces where the Meridian Empire's invasion fleet now resided, their crews blissfully unaware of their true situation. "Status report on the new arrivals?" Elena asked, her dark eyes reflecting the soft blue glow of the displays. The command center hummed with quiet efficiency as dozens of operators monitored Earth's greatest secret. Dr. Marcus Chen, head of tenopsychology, pulled up a detailed analysis. The Meridian crews are adapting well to the containment simulations. Their hierarchical social structure actually makes them easier to manage than the Proximan scouts we captured last year. They readily accept the virtual environments we've created. Elena nodded, remembering the first alien ship they'd ever contained, 15 years ago. Back then, the quantum folding technology had been experimental, barely stable enough to hold a single scout vessel. Now they had perfected it to the point where they could safely store an entire invasion fleet. Dr. Santos called out Lieutenant Sarah O'Connor from her monitoring station. "We're getting some interesting data from Section 42. The Meridian engineers are attempting to analyze their surroundings. Their sensors are more sophisticated than we anticipated." Elena walked over to Sarah's station, her steps quick but measured. The quantum displays showed a group of Meridian scientists running detailed scans of their environment. Their crystalline technology interfaced beautifully with the quantum fields containing them, creating unexpected harmonics in the dimensional barriers. "They're actually helping us improve our containment systems," Elena mused, watching the data streams. "Every test they run teaches us more about their technology. Record everything. Their methods could help us refine the quantum folding process." The facility shuddered slightly as another section of the library expanded, creating new space in a pocket of folded reality. Above ground, it might have registered as a minor seismic event, nothing more than background noise in a geologically active region. Elena remembered the day they discovered the quantum folding principle. It had started with a crashed alien ship in Brazil, not shot down but gently redirected into a controlled landing by the first prototype defense system. The ship's pilot had survived, becoming humanity's first official extraterrestrial contact. But more importantly, its quantum drive had contained the key to humanity's greatest breakthrough: the ability to create spaces between spaces, to fold reality itself into peaceful containment fields. "Ma'am," called out Dr. James Rodriguez, their quantum mechanics expert, "you need to see this." He brought up a new display showing energy patterns from the contained Meridian ships. Their crystalline technology. It's not just for show. The entire fleet functions as a single quantum computer. Even in containment, they're still linked. Elena leaned forward, her interest piqued. Can they communicate with ships outside our system? No, the containment fields prevent any external quantum entanglement. But within the library, James manipulated the controls, showing how energy flowed between the captured vessels. They're sharing information, adapting, learning, just not in the way they think they are. A smile played at Elena's lips. The Meridians believed they were analyzing Earth's defenses, preparing for their next assault. In reality, they were helping humanity understand alien technology at an unprecedented rate. Every simulation they ran, every test they performed, every piece of data they gathered was carefully collected and studied by Earth's scientists. Dr. Santos, Sarah called out again. We're detecting unusual activity in the diplomatic section. The Grand Admiral is requesting a direct communication channel. Elena straightened her lab coat. After the initial contact, they had allowed limited communications with the Meridian leadership, carefully managed through quantum-filtered channels. Put her through to my office. And Sarah, make sure the reality filters are at maximum strength. We don't want them picking up any stray quantum signatures that might reveal the true nature of their situation. In her office, Elena faced a holographic projection of Grand Admiral Kestra Vernax. The Meridian leader's scales had taken on a deep blue hue that Elena's cinecultural training identified as a sign of deep thought or concern. Dr. Santos, Kestra began, her translated voice carrying both authority and a hint of frustration. My scientists have been analyzing your defensive capabilities. They report inconsistencies. Oh, Elena kept her expression neutral. What kind of inconsistencies? Your technology shouldn't be possible. A pre-FTL civilization couldn't have developed quantum containment fields of this magnitude. Unless Kestra's scales shifted to a darker shade. Unless you're not as primitive as you appear. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Admiral, humanity learned long ago that the best defense isn't always a show of force. Sometimes it's simply making others underestimate you until it's too late. Your fleet is safe, your people are unharmed, and we are quite willing to begin peaceful diplomatic relations. The choice of how to proceed is yours. As the holographic projection faded, Elena turned back to the quantum displays. In the library below, 100,000 alien warriors went about their duties, each believing they were preparing for their next engagement, never realizing they were actually helping humanity advance its technology by decades with every passing day. The best victories, Elena whispered, quoting her old mentor, are the ones where your opponent never even realizes they've lost. Diplomatic tremors. The Grand Galactic Council chamber on Centauri Prime hadn't seen such chaos in over 3 centuries. Representatives from 200 spacefaring civilizations argued in a cacophony of translated voices, their universal translators struggling to keep up with the overlapping discussions. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Excelna of the Arcturus Collective, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns that express deep concern. Order, she called, her voice resonating through the ancient chamber. We must maintain order. The chamber's quantum acoustics amplified her words, finally bringing the chaos under control. We are here to discuss the Meridian incident and its implications for galactic security. On the main display, footage from the Meridian Fleet's quantum recorders played in a loop, showing the moment when 100,000 warships simply vanished near Earth. The recording ended with the now infamous transmission from Dr. Elena Santos, which had been broadcast across every quantum communication channel in the galaxy. The humans claimed they'd done no harm, spoke Representative Vorn of the Silicon Consciousness, his robotic form clicking with agitation. Yet they've somehow contained an entire invasion fleet in what they call dimensional storage. This technology violates our understanding of quantum mechanics. Ambassador Excelna raised a crystalline appendage for silence. We have confirmation from returning diplomatic missions. The Meridian crews are indeed unharmed, though they remain in containment until diplomatic protocols are established. What concerns this council is not just the technology itself, but how humans concealed such capabilities. The chamber's holographic displays shifted to show Earth's historical data, primitive satellites, radio transmissions, chemical rockets, all carefully maintained even as humanity secretly mastered technologies that surpassed those of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. They fooled us all, admitted First Speaker Lyra of the Pleiadian Alliance, her bioluminescent patterns showing embarrassment. Every probe we sent, every observation we made, showed exactly what they wanted us to see. The question is, why? A new figure approached the central podium. Dr. Elena Santos herself, Earth's first ambassador to the Council. She wore a simple black suit that contrasted sharply with the ornate diplomatic garb of other species. The chamber fell silent as she began to speak. Distinguished representatives, Elena began, her voice calm and measured. Humanity learned of our galactic neighbors long before any of you discovered us. We watched your civilizations, studied your conflicts, and made a choice. We would not announce ourselves through force or conquest, but through defense and preservation. The quantum displays showed new images, dozens of alien ships, each safely contained in Earth's dimensional storage, their crews unharmed and often unaware of their containment. Every vessel that threatened Earth over the past 50 years has been preserved. Every crew member has been protected. We developed our quantum folding technology not to harm, but to prevent harm. And what of the Meridian Fleet? Demanded the Meridian representative, their scales shifting with barely contained rage. When will you release our warriors? Elena's expression remained diplomatic but firm. As soon as we complete peaceful negotiations and establish proper diplomatic relations. Already, many of your crew members have expressed interest in cultural exchange programs. Some have even requested to stay and study Earth's unique approach to technological development. The chamber erupted in murmurs as Elena continued. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our perspective. We saw a galaxy filled with conflict and chose a different path. Every species that has encountered our defensive systems has emerged not just unharmed, but with a new understanding of what's possible. Ambassador Excelna's crystalline form sparkled with curiosity patterns. You could have revealed yourselves at any time, demonstrated your power to the galaxy. Why maintain the deception? Elena smiled. Because true strength isn't about showing power. It's about knowing when not to use it. Earth's defense systems have never killed a single being. We've never destroyed a single ship. In a galaxy where first contact often leads to conflict, we chose to master the art of preventing violence rather than perpetrating it. The chamber's quantum feeds captured every word, broadcasting them across the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, billions of beings watched as humanity finally revealed its true nature to the galactic community. We invite all of you to join us in this approach, Elena concluded. Earth is opening its universities, research centers, and cultural institutions to all peaceful species. Let us show you how we achieved what we did, not through conquest or competition, but through cooperation and understanding. As the council chamber buzzed with excited discussion, Ambassador Excelna noted something remarkable. For the first time in galactic history, the various species weren't arguing about weapons or territories. Instead, they were talking about cultural exchange programs, joint research initiatives, and diplomatic missions to Earth. In the privacy of her crystalline thoughts, she realized that humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They had turned what could have been a devastating first contact war into an opportunity for galactic cooperation. The humans hadn't just mastered quantum mechanics. They had mastered the art of peace through strength, without ever firing a shot. Evolution's edge. 1 year after the Meridian incident, the Sol system had become the galaxy's most intriguing destination. The space around Earth buzzed with diplomatic vessels, and research ships from hundreds of civilizations, each hoping to understand the species that had revolutionized galactic warfare by refusing to fight. At Luna University's new Xenological Exchange Center, Dr. Elena Santos stood before a diverse audience of alien scientists and diplomats. Through the dome's transparent quantum crystal, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the black velvet of space. The quantum folding principle isn't just about defense, Elena explained, gesturing to the holographic models floating above the lecture hall. It's about creating possibilities. Every space we fold becomes a chance for understanding, for preservation, for growth. In the audience, former Grand Admiral Kestra Vernax, now serving as the Meridian Empire's chief diplomatic officer, watched with transformed perspective. Her scales had taken on the silver sheen of enlightenment, a color change that had surprised even her. When my fleet encountered your defenses, Kestra spoke up. We thought we had failed. We didn't realize we were actually participating in the greatest technological and cultural exchange in galactic history. The holographic display shifted to show the library, now transformed into a vast multi-species research and cultural center. Former invasion ships had become floating universities, their crews teaching and learning alongside humans and other species. The quantum spaces that once served as containment fields now hosted collaborative research projects, cultural exhibitions, and diplomatic forums. Quantum folding technology has applications far beyond defense, Elena continued. Imagine refugee ships caught in war zones, safely stored until peace can be achieved. Endangered biospheres preserved in pocket dimensions while their planets heal. Even the preservation of entire civilizations facing cosmic disasters. In orbit above Earth, humanity's first galactic-scale project was taking shape. The Preservation Sphere, a massive quantum fold facility designed to protect species and cultures at risk of extinction. Already, it had saved 3 civilizations from dying stars and preserved the biological and cultural heritage of dozens more. But not everyone embraced Earth's paradigm shift. In the darker corners of the galaxy, some saw humanity's defensive capabilities as a threat to the old order. Pirates, warlords, and expansionist empires found their traditional methods of conquest rendered obsolete. The Draconian hegemony, infamous for their planet-crushing war fleets, had attempted to reverse-engineer Earth's technology for offensive purposes. Their effort ended with their entire attack fleet safely contained in a quantum fold, their crews now inadvertently participating in the galaxy's largest peace and rehabilitation program. The true power of our technology, Elena explained to her audience, isn't in what it prevents, but in what it enables. Every prevented conflict becomes an opportunity for growth. Every contained aggressor becomes a potential ally. She brought up new displays showing the statistical impact of Earth's influence on the galaxy. Interstate warfare had dropped by 60%. Cultural exchange programs had increased by 400%. Scientific advancement in quantum mechanics and dimensional physics had accelerated beyond all previous projections. But perhaps most importantly, Elena continued, we've demonstrated that advancement doesn't require aggression. Progress doesn't demand destruction. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us to grow together. In the back of the lecture hall, ancient observer Tix Era of the Meridian Empire shared knowing looks with representatives from other elder races. They had watched countless civilizations rise and fall through cycles of violence and conquest. Humanity had broken that cycle not through superior firepower, but through superior imagination. After the lecture, Elena met with the Galactic Council's newly formed Preservation Committee. The quantum displays showed their most ambitious project yet, the Galactic Heritage Initiative. Using Earth's technology, they would create a vast network of quantum-preserved spaces, protecting endangered species, dying worlds, and threatened cultures throughout the galaxy. We're not just changing how civilizations interact, Elena explained to the committee. We're changing how the galaxy evolves. Every species, every culture, every piece of knowledge becomes precious when we have the means to preserve it all. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message from Luna Defense Command. Long-range quantum sensors had detected a new threat. A swarm of planet-killing machines left over from an ancient war, awakened and heading toward populated systems. In the past, such a discovery would have led to panic and military mobilization. Now, Elena simply smiled. "Deploy the preservation fields," she ordered. "Let's find out who created these machines and see if we can help them find a better purpose." As humanity's quantum ships moved to intercept the ancient threat, Elena reflected on how far they'd come. Earth had transformed from a seemingly primitive world into the galaxy's greatest innovator, not through conquest or dominance, but through the simple art of finding better solutions to age-old problems. The galaxy was learning what humanity had known all along, that the greatest power isn't in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to preserve. In the quantum-folded spaces around Earth, a new kind of civilization was taking shape, built not on the bones of the defeated, but on the preserved wisdom of the past and the unlimited potential of the future. The next horizon. 5 years after humanity revealed its true capabilities to the galaxy, Dr. Elena Santos stood in Earth's new quantum observatory, watching history unfold. The massive facility, built within a stable quantum fold at the heart of the solar system, served as both a scientific marvel and a testament to how far galactic civilization had come. Through the observatory's quantum-enhanced sensors, she could observe events unfolding across thousands of light years. The display currently focused on a remarkable sight: the peaceful relocation of an entire civilization. The Nixians, whose home star was approaching supernova, were being evacuated not through a chaotic fleet of refugee ships, but through massive quantum preservation fields that transported entire cities intact. Preservation Field Alpha reports complete success, announced Dr. Marcus Chen, now serving as Earth's Director of Sinological Preservation. 3 billion Nixians and their complete civilization successfully stored. They'll remain in stable quantum space until their new homeworld is terraformed. Elena smiled, remembering how differently this might have played out in the old days. Before Earth's influence, the Nixians would have faced a desperate diaspora, their culture fragmenting as they sought refuge across hostile stars. Now they would emerge from quantum storage as a unified civilization, ready to thrive on their new world. But not all of humanity's challenges involved preservation. At the far edge of mapped space, another display showed a more ominous discovery. Ancient automated weapons platforms, remnants of long-dead civilizations, had begun reactivating. These von Neumann machines had once threatened to consume entire sectors in their endless self-replication. "The containment fleet is in position," reported Admiral Sarah O'Connor, formerly a lieutenant in the early days of the quantum defense program. The fleet's ships, elegant crystalline structures that barely resembled military vessels, approached the swarm of ancient machines. What happened next demonstrated how profoundly humanity had transformed warfare. Instead of destruction, the human ships projected overlapping fields of quantum energy, carefully folding space around each machine. One by one, the ancient weapons were preserved, their destructive programming suspended in quantum stasis until they could be studied and repurposed. Another war that never was, mused ancient observer Tixera, who had become one of humanity's strongest allies. The elder being's scales shifted through patterns of deep satisfaction. "You humans have done more than change how we fight. You've changed how we think about conflict itself." Indeed, the galaxy had transformed in ways few could have predicted. The great powers that once competed through force now competed through preservation achievements. The Meridian Empire, once focused on conquest, had become the galaxy's leading expert in cultural preservation, using modified quantum fold technology to protect endangered languages and traditions. But humanity's greatest impact had been on the nature of first contact itself. As the galaxy expanded and new civilizations were discovered, the old pattern of intimidation and power projection had been replaced by something more profound. Each new species was approached not with warships, but with preservation vessels, offering protection, knowledge, and a place in the galactic community. In the Quantum Observatory's main hall, Elena reviewed reports from across known space. The preservation network had expanded to include over 10,000 quantum-fold facilities, each protecting something unique and valuable. Extinct species were being revived from preserved genetic samples. Lost technologies were being recovered from preserved ruins. The galaxy's history, once a fragmentary collection of winners' tales, was becoming a complete tapestry of preserved experiences. "We've received a priority signal from the Deep Space Array," announced one of her assistants. "They've detected something different." The quantum displays shifted to show a phenomenon unlike anything they'd encountered before. At the edge of known space, something was entering the galaxy. Not ships or weapons, but what appeared to be space itself, folded in ways that defied their understanding. "Analysis suggests it's artificial," reported Dr. Rodriguez, his quantum mathematics team already processing the data. "But the complexity, it's beyond anything we've achieved with quantum folding. Way beyond." Elena felt a familiar thrill of discovery. This was why humanity had chosen preservation over destruction, not just to protect, but to learn, to grow, to face new mysteries with curiosity rather than fear. "Prepare a first contact team," she ordered. But not just any team. She looked around the chamber at the assembled representatives of a dozen species. "We'll show them what the galaxy has become. Not a collection of competing powers, but a civilization that preserves, protects, and grows together." As the quantum fold ships prepared for humanity's greatest adventure yet, Elena reflected on the journey that had brought them here. They had transformed from a seemingly primitive species into the architects of a new galactic order. Not through force or dominance, but through the simple yet revolutionary idea that everything worth learning was worth preserving. The galaxy had learned that the true measure of a civilization wasn't its ability to destroy, but its capacity to preserve. And now, as they prepared to meet whatever lay beyond the familiar stars, humanity and its allies stood ready, not with weapons, but with the power to protect, preserve, and understand. As Elena watched the first contact team depart, she smiled at the thought of how far they'd come. The primitive species that had once feared the stars now reached out to embrace them, carrying with them not the threat of destruction, but the promise of preservation. In the quantum-folded spaces that had once held captured warships, a new future was taking shape, one where every discovery added to the vast library of preserved knowledge, and every encounter brought the opportunity not for conflict, but for understanding. The next horizon beckoned, and humanity was ready to face it. Not alone, but together with a galaxy transformed by the simple power of choosing to preserve rather than destroy.